you and the AI Inner Circle over time, and we appreciate you being part of the community. Obviously, these kinds of calls are very interesting from the standpoint we have an opportunity to bring in somebody from the engineering team to come and speak with us. And today's guest hero is Rodrigo. And Rodrigo is a person that's been in the business, a data scientist for 20 years. He's done a lot of different both startups and large organizations, and he sort of specializes in being creative and delivering AI content, and so creating things. He sits inside the engineering team, but nonetheless, he's very focused on how we communicate and how we educate the broader community at large. And in particular, today's conversation is specifically geared toward some requests that we've been receiving from you and from your peers to get a little deeper into this particular topic set. And so we're excited to have Rodrigo on with us today, excited to have this conversation, and we'll take it from there. So Rodrigo, please feel free to take over as presenter and start the presentation. And while you're doing that, I'll just continue. Once again, this is a continuation of a series of technical webinars that we've been delivering to the partner community, and we appreciate the thoughts here, the input, and we try to respond back. So a lot of these are directly from requests that we've been getting.
All right. Thank you, Phil. Thank you, Renee. Good morning, everyone. My name is Rodrigo Souza. I'm a senior data scientist with the Cloud and AI Engineering Group. Can you see my screen?
Yes. Yes, popped up.
All right. Let's go. Let's talk about Content Moderator API today. And we will not only talk, there will be a lot of demos in our presentation today. Okay. So let's move on. What is the Content Moderator? It's one of the Azure Cognitive Services available for you to infuse, to embed AI into your application. So you can start to do AI, to create an AI application today. You don't need to be a data scientist to use AI. To create an AI, okay, but to use AI, you don't need to be a data scientist, and that's why Microsoft has this Azure Cognitive Service. It's an idea to increase AI democratization. And the Content Moderator API, so as you can see, there are 5 categories of cognitive services, dozens of them. And the Content Moderator API is here in these 2 categories, language and decision. So if you reach this URL, you'll see this API listed there. And what is the Content Moderator? So content is everywhere. Everything is content. User created, social, auto-generated like IoT, conversational, and now virtual reality. We are talking about human information, unstructured data, images, text, and videos. This is the kind of data you can use to apply AI, to use the Content Moderator API, right? Human information. And today, with the internet scale data volumes, we have billions of human beings creating data. So this data may be geopolitical, cultural specific, it may have adult or racy content, and so on. And this content, your business may need diversity, compliance, and privacy checks. So the impact of a lack of automatic content moderation may create this kind of situation for you, illegal and inappropriate content, right? His risk for your users, your brand, and your business. Another impact is on your data and AI projects. Bad data will create extra costs and delays and so on. Another problem is the cost of human moderation is too high. And you can't scale, right? So and also we have some extra challenges for content moderation. So the human moderation will fail at some point. You can avoid that because we are humans and we fail. Also, custom AI. So let's say you're going to create a content moderator solution for you. It will require a lot of investment. And in-house solutions, most of the times they can't scale. It's another challenge if you're trying to solve things at home, in-house. You may find some niche technologies, a small vendor, but he won't deliver you an end-to-end platform for your solution. And lack of customization will prevent a holistic approach. So how a good content moderator solution looks like? So it must be simple to understand, easy to integrate with your applications, right? With your legacy applications, flexible, customizable. Of course, you still need some human interaction for administration to create workflows and to provide review capabilities, right? So at many cases, you need a human being to create, to tell the solution what is correct, what is not, and to review when when we have a problem and the solution is not 100%. So that's why we have the Microsoft Content Moderator platform. And why it's a platform? Because we have, if you check on the first on top, we have an UX tool, a review tool for humans to create jobs, workflows, reviews, teams, and subteams. So through the web interface, and or maybe through an API, the review team can define, again, jobs, workflows, reviews. They can create teams and subteams to delegate authorization and authority within the platform. And we have also, since we created the solution, the moderation platform, of course, there will be endpoints, API endpoints for illegal content, inappropriate content, and can bring other cognitive services or your own classification model. So I will show you how to do it in a demo in a few minutes. We are talking about inappropriate content. For images, we can detect adult, racy content. We can detect OCR. So let's say you have a company and you don't allow text in your images. You can detect faces. That's again one kind of personal PII, personal identifiable information. For text, we can identify profanity, adult, racy, offensive, or PII content. And for video, today we can, and it's in preview, we can detect adult or racy content, right? So let's check how it works. So there will be an API endpoint. That's this big white, blue square in the middle, an open URL for that you can access with a key, the Content Moderator API key. And of course, you're gonna input your data. It may be an image, a text, or a video. Probably, since it's an API call, probably you will share your content location, where it is, and of course it must be accessible from the API endpoint. And again, you're gonna specify the specific settings of what you want from the API, from the Content Moderator API. And as a result, you get these kinds of insights, classification labels, scores, and operation-specific insights. I will, don't worry, I will do a demo in a few seconds. So specific for images. So we can detect if it is adult or racy. We can detect faces. We can create a list of custom images. And the model, the algorithm, you will learn what you don't want. And it will apply this custom image list for you. So it will save you time and money and costs, because it doesn't need to review every single image if it is already in your custom list. And as I mentioned before, you can detect images and text. So let's do a demo of the image. I think it's a good moment for the first demo of this presentation. Let's do a demo on the image API endpoint. I'm gonna move to my browser. The other window, yes, here. Let me get rid of this. Come on. Okay. If you want to help, I will reduce the size of my window. Oops, this is Giselle Bintin. Oh, the URL I want to access is this one here. So the Content Moderator API has this dashboard to help you navigate, help you to use the API. So the first thing you need to choose here is what you're going to test, image or text, or videos. Videos are in preview. You can do it through the review tool I will show you later. So let's evaluate images, okay? And you need to know where your Content Moderator API is deployed. In my case, it is South Central US. So here, since I choose the region, I have here South Central US host, right? And we need to inform what is the key. So I have here my Content Moderator key. So let me paste here, right? And in this part here, this is the body of my REST API call. I need to inform what is the image I want to use. So let's start with my Twitter profile image. This is me. This is my Twitter profile image. So let's check what the Content Moderator will talk about my image. So I'm going to send this request. So, okay, the millisecond. So the results are adult classification, very low, 2%, right? And it's false. It's not adult. And it's not racy as well. Again, 2%. This score here, it goes from 0 to 1, okay? So the results false. We don't have a problem with this image. Okay, interesting. So, but now let's try this Giselle Bündchen image. She's working in some kind of event. So let's test with Giselle Bündchen here. Let's see what the Content Moderator API will tell us. So, adult classification, no, it's not 5%. But as you can see, racy classification, it is much bigger than my photo. It's saying true, right? So that's how the Content Moderator API works. It will return for you a JSON file with the information. Okay, what I can do with this information? If you have a workflow, and I will show you how workflows work in a few seconds. If you have a workflow, you can define if this image should be reviewed, blocked, and so on. But if not, your application will have access to this JSON file, right? And your application, your code, you decide what to do with the image. It's up to you. It's your code, and you decide what you want to do with this, right? So just to make sure we are talking the same language, when the Content Moderator API returns, if it is added classification, we are talking about potential presence of image that may consider it sexually explicit. And what about racy? Represents potential of presence of images that may be considered sexual suggestive, explicit. This is the key difference between these two classifications, okay? Let's go. Let's get back to the presentation. I just need to change this, swap this thing. Okay, so this was image moderation. And text moderation, how text moderation works. It's pretty similar. And but here we can detect, we can ask the Content Moderator API to correct our text. We can classify in 3 categories, and I will talk about these categories in 10 seconds. We can detect PII, personal identifiable information. And again, we can create a list. We can create a list of custom terms, words, key phrases we don't want in our data set, right? So again, I'm going to leave the presentation and use the browser. This browser here. Yes, text moderation. So what are the classifications I mentioned before? They call it. So the first category is potential presence of language that may be considered sexually explicit. The category 2 is sexually suggestive. 3 is